that he has already built for himself.
Well, we'll see if Liv Sandbox have a chance to challenge these guys this time around. Of course, T1 lost game 1 and then went on to a reverse sweep in the best of 3 and take it 2-1 just 6 days ago. So, you know, they already kind of downloaded themselves a bit before in that first matchup, and now they're going to come into this one with slightly changed priorities and drafts and stuff like that, as Annie is going to be banned here on blue side.
Still a lot of AD carry power picks available. And Lucian and Zeri are looming. With this Karma, I'm expecting a Caitlyn ban. And it might not be the most exciting start of the draft here. Do know that T1 in particular is still very happy to experiment and go into different directions, but it will indeed be the expected Lucian B1 here, leading to what I assume will be a Sejuani and a... I was thinking Lulu, but yeah, I can go for Zeri as well.
Either or, because, you know, if they go Lucian, Lulu, okay, well. Lulu picked early. Seems like maybe they don't want to go into the Sejuani. Maybe they want to try to get a counter pick situation for the jungle, or at least see what the picks will be first before selecting it. As the Lulu is, you know, pretty much granted once you lock that in. I think someone cheered after Nami got locked in, because it's, guess what, Lucian, Nami, Zeri, Lulu. I know a couple people who are very happy and excited to see that again.
Not in the least place, you. As a Sandbox staple gets picked up, Willer here on the Vi. It was last year Croco and Kael that were a leading force. Croco has unfortunately seen better days, currently struggling on DRX, but Willer has stepped up to the plate in a way that not many of us were expecting. And this Vi, combined with a Lulu in particular, will be a powerful pick. We saw it initially emerge as kind of a counter into the Wukong and has become a mainstay jungler from here. Does mean the Sejuani is going to make its way through the draft, and the pick is still quite strong, but does somewhat require you to draft accordingly. Drafts for melee, solo lanes, and now the team seems to be willing to go for that here as the R4 Azir. It's a staple. It's not exciting.
Hey, any Gnar enjoyers?
Yeah, Gnar and, well, we can't go Victor. So Gnar, no, Akali's banned. Gnar, Sylas, maybe? The Sylas matchup has seen better days into the Azir. That Nardo. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I just, you know, I wasn't going to say anything until it came out because I just wanted to make 100% sure. But I already was.
Zeus is good enough to just go for a blind Fiora, but we're not going to. We're not going to take any risk. This is game number 1.
Gnar's very strong blind when you already banned a couple of answers, you know, or at least one in the Jax.
Is it a Bird or Yone angle?
What?
So, there are 3 opportunities here. It might be Gragas jungle. It might be Gragas jungle with Gnar top and then
Wukong mid. Really?
Well, I don't think that's good. But the alternative is that you're playing Gnar mid and then Gragas top and then Wukong jungle. But Gnar
Sylas, look at this.
There's no way that you ever play Gnar mid into Azir, right? That's not happening.
Well,
is Faker just going to
I think Azir might be going top. I mean, unless,
I know
Birdo could just play it into the Gnar.
Birdo has played this matchup a ton. The Dove tech?
The Dove tech.
It's me, it's back.
Wait, what?
Yeah, okay, so because of the Azir being locked in, they feel safe going for the Gnar, and then the Sylas comes in, and also we're playing Gragas mid for some reason.
And Sylas is like, put that in like gold colors in the draft because you're up against a Gnar and a Gragas and a Wukong and Lucianami. I mean, every ult is great, but especially the Cask and the Gnar ultimate are S tier for Sylas. And Sandbox have the confidence to do this in game number 1. I love it.
We're also seeing Gragas mid. Like, how is Gragas mid not the most exciting part of this? Like, what is happening?
I think it's the Azir top is the most interesting.
Well, that's... I agree. But how is that... Oh.
But also the Silas R5. Like, I really like Sandbox's position.
No, I love the Sandbox draft.
Yeah.
If they can execute on this... Oh, boy. Might be in for a banger here, Valdez.
Well, we're already starting off with the fun one, guys. As, you know, it all looks pretty normal until we got to the number 4 and number 5 picks for both teams in this one. But guys, let's jump onto the rift for game number 1. And Faker's playing Gragas mid, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're gonna get a bunch of graphics here, friends. I can already predict the last time we saw Azir top, but that's easy. That was
The
last
last time we saw Gragas mid.
Also that, yeah, because that's going to be a lot of years.
Yeah.
Because even when Yasuo Gragas was kind of a thing, it was always Gragas jungle.
Yeah. And I would assume that Faker played this mid. There are metas in past where
Yeah, it was a
Gragas
staple
mid was
mid
a thing.
laner.
Yeah.
At some point.
So, you know, pretty sure we're not going to get that graphic of like, oh, this is his 75th pick. Unless he somehow totally avoided picking it during that era, which I kind of doubt.
Heavy setup towards Vision on the bot side. Sandbox have a ward both in the Tribe Rush. Guma and Keria have been spotted by this and are gonna go and pick up the early control of the brush, of the sweeper. And we know that in this matchup it has become common to just trade sums, level 1, just trying to fight for the level 2 so that you can take priority of the lane right from the get-go. And this is exhaust teleport for the Azir here.
Yes.
and it makes a ton of sense, right? Because the Azir top has been like kind of a hidden counter to Gnar for quite a while, but it has a ton of issues, most notably that top laners don't really play Azir, unless they're Dove.
Dove does.
Well, yeah, there we go.
4-0. Yeah, I didn't think he avoided this. It's pretty, you know, it's pretty good. It's okay. Decent. Not a bad.
So, what must have happened is with the Azir, Faker was like, okay, this is the anti-Azir tech that we've prepped, and then the R5 Silas came in.
Yeah, it's like the Uno reverse card comes out, and then you reverse the reverse.
That's too many layers for me, Valdez.
Well.
But as we were talking about on the top matchup, the first is you need to actually play, but it's very similar to, or in concept, to what we see with, for example, Kennen, who used to be a pretty decent counter into Gnar. Gnar into melee matchups is really strong because he is both ranged and at times can fight in melee range when he does have his Mega Gnar available. And with hyper procs and good spacing, you can really make the life of any melee champion hell. But when you get outranged and when you get out-traded with autos, or in Azir's case, his soldiers, then life becomes a lot less fun because you don't get the traditional oppressiveness that a Gnar is looking for in lane to offset the points where he's weaker. Generally, post-6 all-ins are a good example, as Oner's here.
Yeah, I mean, they see him, but the bubble's going to hit the Lulu. Kyle going to have to use that heal just to get out safely, so both secondary summoners and all secondary summoners used by all 4 bottom laners.
But Envy is going to back here, and that might provide an opportunity for Guma and Keria to get ahead early on. Not a lot of mana here for closer.
Yeah. In the extended trades early on, the Gragas should absolutely win these.
Yeah.
He has much better sustain, not only in health, but also in mana.
They get the crash as well. And we'll be able to get a nice back in here. Early serrated Dirk, and it showcases the respect that T1 has as well, wanting to get the maximum amount of early power into this Zeri and Lulu lane to try and ensure that you can keep them on the back foot. We do know that the matchup at level 6 becomes a lot more volatile with the right opportunity, and VNKL can look for a all-in at that point. But if you are very far behind in lane and you hit level 6 a lot later, then that can become quite difficult. Big wave being stacked up here for Birdle. So it's almost mega, and Wheeler also going back, so don't expect this to amount too much. This is a flashless Azir. So post 6, Birdle is going to have to play very respectful and be very mindful of where Oner is at any point and time on the map. Because in the 1v1 with exhaust,
you never lose.
I don't think you should be going down to Gnar.
No, you should be totally fine, and that's why he takes it rather than the gameplay summoner that is Flash, of course. Later on, in terms of team fights and stuff like that, the Flash will be a lot more valuable. But what can you do? As Cask is actually taken, Faker just going to casually sidestep that one. He's got the Wukong here as well. Oner looking to potentially set up in mid, but he's only level 4, so yeah, just going to let that one go.
Jungler's moving towards bot.
Big trade here down on the bottom side. Remember, no secondary summoners. Everybody's got Flash.
Slightly favorable trade here for the T1 bot lane, particularly because Guma is still sitting on 2 cookies. And a refillable early on here for Keria means that these extended trades are going to go their way. Wheeler looking for an opportunity here. We do have Oner on his way.
A little bit of a beaterino as Guma gets incredibly low, but he's going to have that bouncing heal, and a bubble is going to come out here as well. But nice little gank comes out from Wheeler. Going to get them in a good spot. Oner down a level as well, and he doesn't really have too much support from his bottom side, but still, with Faker moving out of mid,
yeah, they have to
push them back. Oh, there's the bubble, though. The Ignite actually coming down here as well. This is eventually going to be a 4-on-3, so the Sandbox just saying, nope, nope, nope. No thank you.
And relatively even trades are early on. Gumayusi does get his Flash Force, but is fine besides that. And VNKL going to get the shove in here. Might get a small punish as the backs do actually come through for Guma and Keria, so does mean that they will be able to base here after shoving in that extra wave. And level 6 all-in could be quite interesting here with Guma not having the flash available. If Envy gets on top of him and Kael hits a Wild Growth, some playmaking potential there. And yeah, as mentioned, Closer moved first on the initial play, and then that didn't lead to anything, and then he had to go back to catch the wave, and then Faker moved out, and then Sandbox also backed off as early chapter here.
Very even early on in this game.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just funny, kind of like the seesaw effect, like you were just talking about in the mid lane. Definitely a thing. This top lane, definitely more interesting because of the Azir, but it's still top lane, so...
It's also, Azir generally isn't the champion we get super excited about, because he's top lane.
Maybe in 2025 we'll just have Azir Corki still, but it'll be in the top lane.
Maybe, well, I mean, at that point, surely top lane has to matter, right?
No, I think you put them up there because you're not really looking for much prio. You just want them to sit there and farm.
We've actually introduced a wall around top lane, like at the request of top laners, so no one can mess with their lane early on.
It goes down at 14 minutes.
Yeah, for the first 14 minutes, like if we can't teleport to top lane or to bot lane, then no one can come to us. So we can finally have an honorable 1v1.
And maybe you can just switch teleport back to the way that it used to be. Maybe. Not sure though. Mid lane as well, you know, Closer got ahead in XP. He tried to make the Cask play. Nothing really came of it. No early Drake just yet. It is a Chemtech Drake, which generally means bigger and better things later on.
It's an investment. Oner here has his Wheeler.
He has his Wheeler indeed. They're trying to get on top of Guma, who does not have a flash, but he does have a dream. The Cyclone does come out, but the heal is there on the Envy. Doesn't matter, he does go down, but Oner, at the end of the day, will be taken out as well. As now Faker in the Drake pit. He's very large. Can he do anything with it, though? No. As that is going to be another kill into the hands of Wheeler, who is setting everything up for his team on the bottom side.
This is some vintage Sandbox that we're watching here.
Okay, well, oh boy. Exhaust's gonna come in very nicely here. Will it matter though as the wall comes in? Yeah, Zeus gonna take the life in the top lane. That's a nice little shore up for his team at least.
Oh, as Zeus and Birdle, a top lane matchup with a ton of history. The counter pick comes through, but right now, Zeus still getting the better end of Birdle. And it's fortunate that this bot lane play goes as well as it does. And here we see something that teams have gotten better and better at utilizing, which is the dive power of Zeri. Vi can go in as deep as happens right there due to the fact that there are reinforcements. Kael crucially hits 6 off of the back of this play, and then Faker is kind of stuck. Can't really go back because Closer is waiting, but also can't get out. Closer hit the chains. There is still a wild growth, so Wheeler isn't at threat of getting taken down. As, yeah, if that shuffle hits, life is fine. Doesn't even need to flash it.
Got him.
공탈진 빠졌다.
It's saying he uses exhaust. So pretty calm from Zeus. Gotta imagine that the comms at that exact moment weren't exactly cheery. Here's Willer again. Oner in position with Cyclone 2. As this time Guma has summoners. Here we go again. Nice little trade from Zeus. Not really in kill range, but it's one of those very common just pressure plays you see from the Nars that are ahead.
We'll also be seeing an Everfrost here from Birdle, which will make that specific play a lot harder, but also is going to mean that his damage in a side might not be as Zeus is. So he got counterpicked. He is currently just...
Oh boy, here we go. Guma does have flash this time. He's going to use it. The polymorph comes out as Willer just non-stop aggression and pressure in the bottom lane.
Big win. And Zeus winning as hard as he does on top and literally feeding.
Interesting.
Here, Oner, take this. Here it is for you.
Yeah.
No problem.
It's a present.
Zeus making a strong argument here for top lane being relevant after all. And we are seeing a heavy investment from Sandbox, which, by the way, is paying off in the bottom half of the map. We are keeping Guma on the back foot. We are taking away his summoners, as that's the last time we saw was Birdle as well into T1.
Yeah, playoff round 2 versus T1 in LCK Summer. Well, didn't work out then, but it was against T1 as well. But it just proves that Birdle, you know, if players are going to pull out something like this, very specific, in a pro match, you know they are practiced on it. They're not just going to pull out some random thing and say, oh, you know, I'll just try to make it work. At least since then, he has put in the practice.
Yeah, this is the story of this game. But this is a pressure point that T1 should not have based on the efforts of Sandbox. And it really is the individual prowess of Zeus in what was looking to be a counter matchup that right now has put him in a great position to put the rest of the team on his back, as we might have some dive happening towards the bot side here. Both junglers are in the area.
Oner was considering putting down the Rift Herald. We have a fight in mid, but more of a jostle. Here we go again! He doesn't have flash this time, but the tidal wave is very nice for zoning them out. Willer's taking a ton of damage, but the wild growth gets the knock up here on Oner. They're looking for a bit more Closer, making his way down, gonna steal the culling and threaten this, but more so just pushes them away. Even spots Faker and slows him down, but Willer did get chunked pretty heavily on the forefront of that fight.
Ooh, counter engage good enough this time around. T1 at the ready. Oner did have to flash, but so did Willer. And at the end of the play, no one gets a big lead off of it. We do have summoners almost available for Envy, and Sandbox again showcasing they're very happy to play aggressively towards this bottom half of the map. Faker gonna get himself some blades. Oh. Never mind.
I guess it went to Oner.
Yeah.
Interesting. Not able to get in range there.
The wall has dropped. Teleports. Oh, it's Crown. Okay. I like the Crown more, which isn't the sentence I often say. And probably should have seen that one coming as well with the composition of T1. And particularly the top half matchup. Although Crown into specifically the Mininar is going to be procced pretty consistently.
Yeah.
There was also Nami and Lucian. So in hindsight, I don't know if I like
and barrels.
And I would like to retract my earlier statement.
Yes, please do.
Yeah,
it's okay. We all make mistakes.
Went full 180 on that one.
Like kind of like a crown, right? Like because it's like half a circle.
I wish that there was that much forethought in my mistake, but I appreciate you looking for it.
Yeah, you know, this is a really nice turnaround because it was very topical for the item at hand.
Started at one point of the crown, then went half the way around. It's a little more though. You know, it's like what, like 240 degrees of the...
I mean, it depends on the crown.
Well, that's true.
Actually, most crowns are larger than that, as Bertle is getting very much harassed, and there it is again, gonna miss as the exhaust has to come out, but will it matter? I mean, Zeus just gonna throw another house, flashes on him just to be sure, knows that Bertle doesn't have a flash, so might as well. And now they're just trying to 100-0 Oner here. The polymorph comes in, but they can't quite get him. He gets low enough, and Envy flashes forward, takes him down. Guma not quite able to do the same thing, but he is kiting back very nicely. Closer gets back in, even with the cast, uses the stopwatch as he's going to go down in the end anyway. Faker able to just barrel him down as the AD carries will trade, but Faker stands alone, stands strong by himself alongside of Keria as they actually ace them.
This is the crazy performance that we're looking for. This is the fights that I wanted. Disaster strikes for Bertle, but if that wasn't enough, the follow-up fight is even worse as the predicts on this ult.
아지를 내가 피 좀 가놓긴 했거든. 야, 아지를 잡을만 한데?
Second time in a row.
I think I'm gonna get him.
아지를 잡았어.
I got him.
나 테러 그냥 탑 뚫을게
And
이거.
then this is bad.
I don't have teleport, I'm just gonna hit that.
Because Zeus gets a full turret off of this. And the confidence here, they barely don't get Oner. If they 100-0 Oner here immediately, they might be able to win the fight. But instead, the fight gets split up, and Faker has an incredible disengage ultimate, gets a ton of damage down, and interrupts Closer initial attempt at getting in here, and then, yeah, unfortunately stopwatch into the waiting arms of a barrel, and as a result,
yeah,
it's a huge win here for T1. They're able to pick themselves up not only to Drake, but also a decisive teamfight victory. Faker now getting more fed, and with top lane being in the state that it is, things are looking rougher and rougher for Sandbox.
Yeah, it's pretty rough too, especially because Faker can actually use those kills very well for extra damage. You know, this isn't a tank Gragas, he's got a rod, he is going to be scaling pretty decently, right? Like, we've come a long way from the AP Gragas mid days where his AP ratios were insane. He does kind of just run in there and has to flash away. A bit questionable from Faker, maybe trying to bait out a fight. He's been doing this a lot recently. Extremely aggressive play from Faker as, okay, now we get the Cyclone in, and that's going to be Willer going down. So it actually does kind of bait out a fight here, and the rest of Live Sandbox are just running away. Tail tucked, not much they can do in this one.
Great team fighting again from T1 Sandbox. If the dive doesn't succeed, second time in a row now, this comp is going to look a lot worse. They do have great chain CC with Wild into chains, into Polymorph, but 2 times in a row now, their intended target doesn't go down immediately, and that's when the composition really struggles. That's when you see disengage come through, right? Because they go all in on Faker, but this is a Rod of Ages Gragas. So Polymorph, the chains and the ultimate have a little bit of overlap, and then here, they also don't find the Q. If Willer hits that Q on Oner, then they can get maybe a little bit more damage down, but instead the burst that comes through is incredible. And with the calling and the zoning from the rest of T1, Sandbox immediately have to vacate the area.
And you said a very important word throughout that whole spiel, which was very on point, which was burst, right? Like, T1 have an insane amount of burst. With AP Gragas and Lucian specifically, it's like, if somebody is CC'd, they will almost definitely die if those 2 champions are in range, not to mention the bonus damage from Wukong and the Gnar. Live Sandbox have a decent amount themselves, but especially T1 from ahead here, I think they're going to be able to utilize that more and more as we get more of these picks. Speaking of which, some plays here. It is Hextech Soul, so you know these teams are going to be fighting for it. What do you think about that Faker play? You think that was a bait or just like a misclick forward into 4 of them. He knows he's super tanky. I kind of want to give him like the benefit of the doubt.
I would say bait, particularly because the rest of T1 was there. So if it's just him and Sandbox is hiding in fog, then it might be different. But right there, I'd argue, like, with how tanky you are, might be a preset play. Sandbox gonna give up the mid lane turret, and they get one more mistake. And after that, the game becomes not really playable anymore, as T1 has shown that with leads like they already have, generally will be enough to win the game. And the Gambit of Birdle didn't end up working out that well. Zeus also going for... I mean, yeah, credit.
I mean, look at Zeus, he's like 2-0. He's
also, well, he's not only ahead, he went for Mercs, which is great into the Sandbox comp in general, and then he's also going Wits End, which into both Birdle and Closer is an incredible item.
Yeah.
So Zeus is just doing an incredible job here, and Birdle might sense that something is wrong. He has Crown procs and then vacate the area.
Yeah. Meanwhile, up in the top side, Faker might be getting dove here. This is AP Gragas, but with a rod, is he tanky enough is really the question. He's gotten Closer under the turret, forces him to flash before the dive comes in, but they can just reset. As this is a 3-on-1, they should have the burst, and they will, as the turret is on top of Willer instead, and nicely juggled aggro gets him the kill.
And that's okay, but look at your bot lane.
Yeah.
The absolute state of the map is disastrous. T1 able to get the punish here, going to get what looks like 2 turrets for the price of 1.
Yeah, they're pretty good at trading map objectives like this. This is definitely something that you know, it's like a T1 style. The immediate second they notice that a bunch of members of the enemy team are going to one direction, they go the opposite direction if they feel like they can't get there on time to support. And so they do.
And this is very well done by Faker. Doesn't end up mattering for the results, as he is able to get Closer back. Closer has to flash, but with 3 people here, you're always going to die. But just buying time here is a big win. You go down eventually, but they have to invest both Willer and KL. And immediately, T1 gets the bot inner and the mid inner as well, which is an incredible amount of gold.
Yeah.
Gold lead now 5.5k. And it is very tough to see an angle. Now, Sandbox do have a great pick comp, so a single miss position of T1 can snowball into many great things, but who do you kill? Because engaging onto Faker is hard, engaging onto Oner is hard, and Zeus is kind of self-explanatory, so it's really just Guma and or Keria.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the answer they've already showed us is only Gumayusi.
And well, yeah, and also, but Guma is never alone, because Keria is always with him. Or someone else
Still, Willer only will click his ult onto Gumayusi the entire game. It's the only person. And it's funny, it's like he's got like a grudge against him or something.
I don't mind the target selection, but with multiple of those dives not working out, I think that might be it. And this story it's twofold. It's one hand, Birdle trying something new against a player that he has such a long history against, and it definitely not even remotely working out. And then that in isolation would be salvageable if Sandbox would be winning the bottom half of the map. But even though they had a couple of great moments, by the end of it, T1 is up a Hextech Drake, and is up 4k gold. So neither of the parts worked out.
Yeah, definitely a bit of an issue. Like, I think Liv Sandbox's draft on paper was quite strong. Just the execution of it, especially in the top side of the map, was a little bit of an issue.
I'm a glass half full kind of guy. I think going toe-to-toe with T1 for the early game is a win in and of itself. But in the mid-game, you really start to see the difference between these two teams, where even if the Sandbox play works out, as
Zeus is going in there, he's got backup from his team, so Willer's just going to... Oh no, he's got Meganar. I mean, this is going to stop the teleport as a very desperate TP out from Closer, who's got his own Gnar ultimate, but he's got a 1v4 dream at this point. As Zeus, you know, just trying to stack up some more Pog points in the series, I suppose. As now they're just going to start the Baron here.
So you need to respect Oner. This is a 4 versus 5.
Yeah, well, Willer is here.
Yeah.
He's on Vision. T1 trying to push him out. The tidal wave not going to work as they just decide to cask him and not go for the flip, as very nicely done. Faker does go into his stopwatch and survives, and the only person who went down so far, ooh, a very nice turn here from Oner, gets on top of Envy while they kill Willer, as now it's only Envy. He's got his support, yes, but that's not enough. A 2v5 doesn't work out, of course, and T1 will take the Baron and potentially this game from here.
I appreciate Sandbox's commitment to... Oh, we either win now, we go big, or we go home. And in this game, they're going home. That didn't end up working out. Envy doesn't have the damage thresholds. Great cancels as well there from T1 as he hops over the wall. Immediately Oner gets on top of him, make sure that he doesn't have the space he needs. And this game, number one, unlike the first times these two teams faced off against another, is going to be heavily in favor of T1. As yet, Flash is forced, and then, oh, this feels so bad. We're about to get it off as well. Zeus goes for the flash. Has the perfect Naganar bar from dunking on Willer. And with Closer already being down, this Baron setup feels somewhat risky initially, because as mentioned, Willer is there, but great timing on the cast. And you don't need much more.
Yeah. Oner gets over.
Watch this cancel from Oner here.
Yeah, this was so clean.
Really important, because that immediately forces Envy's flash.
Yeah.
And yeah, then we get the Zeus knocking him back in. And if he has flash there, maybe you can get some Zeri gaming, but not in this one, VODS.
Yeah. Definitely a little bit of throwing caution in the wind and, you know, seeing what happens, you know. I think Liv Sandbox felt a little bit desperate trying to make a play.
Well, that they are in a very desperate position.
Yeah.
So I agree with your assessment.
It's understandable. I mean, I think, you know, if you give the Baron away, you're probably not going to win the game either, so.
So Berto is 1 assist away from equalizing his previous score.
Man.
Yeah, it's
I guess it is possible.
Could happen, but I don't think it's very likely, VODS.
Be better than 0-4. Well, we'll see if he can do it. The crown choice it just keeps getting procced. There's not really a lot of ways to keep it up and available for fights, unfortunately. So, yeah, T1 just going to do a 4-1. They've got Zeus, who's incredibly strong, so easily can be the one. The cask here, decent amount of damage, but very well respected by the side of T1. They take down the inhibitor. They back away.
Nice cinematic zoom in there. Appreciate that. As Willer is playing a jungler in a losing position, just desperately trying to get something going. As he doesn't. Yeah, he didn't have. He did have smite available, but might want to save it
for what, Chronicler?
For a steal
for what?
on this dragon, right?
For the Raptors.
Yeah, maybe. And you can look at the Sandbox drafting. Okay, they have late game. Well, not from top, unfortunately. Funny as it sounds, with the state of Azir in this game, but. Closer is level 16, maybe you can get Void Staff, and Envy is getting closer to IE, but with the map state, those things are just not going to be enough unless T1 makes some colossal mistakes. This is looking like a very secure first game victory.
It's looking like it. They're going to take down bot inhibitor. This is all without Baron, by the way. Down goes the crown, just going to cask him away, as they will push into mid and use their oversized wallets to just be very annoying. Oner with no playful trickster. I think he's just dead, actually. Gets himself caught against the wall. So that is going to put an end to the push. As here comes a little TP, okay. A little chase from Liv Sandbox.
They have an inkling.
Trying to make something happen. Yeah, they're trying to ward it down, but Bertle
doesn't have flash.
Yeah. And the issue is that Faker immediately just body slams if Bertle tries to get in. And with no flash, lack of playmaking ability in these later game team fights, as we mentioned. But they got Oner.
They postponed the end of the game for a little bit.
True. Yeah.
Not for a large amount of time.
Watch this. Oops.
Yeah, just an oops moment. I think he got I think he got interrupted as he was trying to W over the wall by VIQ, and then as a result, just kind of gets ulted and dies. Not much more to see in that one. Well, we got IE on Envy, and we got double Void Staff, which is nice.
Okay. All right.
Still not enough. No, there's 2 side inhibitors down. which are the worst inhibitors to be down. As Flash is forced, Wheeler are going to lose a ton of offensive power, and T1 can take it easy, light and breezy, just run down pins at the inhib.
There's only one inhib left, so might as well. Going forward as the Vi has an interesting angle here. Closer gonna steal this cast once again. And he hits the Gnar. Faker again, not like super tanky with the build he has gone for. It's just the tanky mage build essentially.
They gotta peel off. Wheeler's too low.
Yeah, and Bertle's just gonna get forced out. Culling comes in here. Closer almost trying to get in front and block it. At this point in time, they will make a last stand on these Nexus turrets. As now a Nami ult has been stolen.
All or nothing. 3 inhibs down.
Yep, give it the old college try, I suppose, as Faker is going to get potentially 100 to 0'd here, but he has Zhonya's, so he makes the play, gets into the Zhonya's, as Envy trying to kite this one back, saves the massive Gnar into the wall. This fight is very broken up. Did the 2 members of T1 go too far?
Envy?
As Guma just trying to hit the Nexus, and it will be enough, as they will take it down at 30 minutes.